What's up, guys? Here from the chest. Welcome. My name is Justin Groth, and I'm your host on this personal development podcast. Guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're old, thank you for sticking around and listening for this long. It means a lot to me, guys. And you know what? We usually do a segment on this podcast called We're Not Friends. I haven't done one for a while. I got one today. Take a breather on this one because honestly I don't want to erupt in the introduction of my podcast on this one. But we're not friends if you're one of those people that are downplaying the coronavirus right now. Not my friend. I don't even want to talk to you. Not my friend, man. We're not friends so much. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Again, I have to really calm myself down because if not, I'll erupt in the intro here. There are some people that are not experiencing the coronavirus the way that other states or countries are. And because of that, because they're not around it, they're not experiencing it, they dumb it down or they rationalize. They justify their point or their position because they're not around it, they're not experiencing it, but they dilute it and they rationalize around that dilution. And just because it's not happening in great numbers to you doesn't mean that you should dumb it down. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't give it the respect that it deserves or the caution that it deserves. Because whatever you think, I don't care if you think it's man-made. I don't care if you think this is the beginning of an end. I don't care what you think. What matters is what's going on right now and that it's killing people like your grandma. I don't care if you think that death is inevitable and we all are going to die anyways. It doesn't matter and you're downplaying. I don't care if you think you're Mr. Tough Guy and that's what you're advocating against. It doesn't matter about dying. We're all going to die anyways. People die. People get sick. I don't care if that's your posture. You should still respect the fact that people are losing loved ones because of it. If you're not taking caution and going out in your own city with a mask on and you're trying to actually do your part, play your part, if you do go out in public, if you're not doing that because you think it's dumb, you think it's all like people are over exaggerating it, we're not friends. Because let me fill you in on something. You may not die from it. You may be a person that's strong, got a healthy immune system, healthy respiratory system. You may not die from it, or it may not really affect you all that much. But what if you come in contact with someone that you love dearly that can't afford to get this mess, and they actually would die from it? See, it's not about you entirely. Maybe you can overcome it, but maybe the person you love and interact with as a byproduct will not be able to overcome it. How do you feel then? I bet you your tune changes. And if it doesn't, you have no heart and we wouldn't be friends anyways. But really, respect it in the state that it's in. Don't dumb it down just because in your state people aren't noticing a big, or the emergency rooms haven't been packed or they haven't had any cases. Who gives a shit? It can come back. In what is it, in Italy, they're digging mass graves. Do you think that your posture would stand up in Italy with people that are lost massive loved ones? Oh yeah, it's no big deal, dude. It's just a common cold or it's just a flu or whatever. Oh, you're going around with your mask and gloves and you're being all weird about it, OCD. Yeah, because it can kill you. And if it doesn't kill you, it can kill somebody that you dearly love that can handle the virus. So just for all reasons, just respect it in the state that it's in and why we're in this position that we're in. I know you want to work. I know you think that it's crazy that everybody's shut down. But guess what? You're not going to do anything about it anyways. The government overthrows you. So just shut up, sit down, and like we all have to do, wait this shit out. But don't disrespect people by dumbing it down, because some people have lost loved ones. How are you going to feel if you've lost your dad and somebody says, yeah, it's not that really big of a deal, I don't know why people are making him. You're going to punch that motherfucker in his face. Excuse my French. Bet you feel differently then. Bet you feel differently then. So stop talking shit. Anyways. If you're still with me, you didn't tune out based on that, thank you. But guys, that has nothing to do with my message today. It just was something that was on my mind, and in particular with a couple people that I had witnessed on YouTube and talk about it in social media, whatever. But anyways, it has literally nothing to do with my message. So let's take a meander from that style of speech, and or that style of thought, and let's embark on something completely different. Guys, I remember, and I'm sure you do the same thing, there was once a time when you were young. And when you're young, you do different things. You do things that are completely off kilt from what you would do now, or you react differently, you approach things differently, and I remember when I was a kid, specifically when I was around, I don't know, it was like 16, 17, 18, I thought I was becoming an adult, you think you're becoming an adult when you're 16, 17, you're still a kid, excuse me, but I just drank a bang, so I got carbonation in my system. But anyways, so you try to embark in adult type things, right? And so I remember one of my adult type things that I tried to embark on, or I did it, was I thought, because I didn't know how things work at this point in time in my life, but I thought I'm gonna go searching for houses. I remember that. I remember I just got my license, and I remember thinking I was like, grown up, because I'm driving now, right? I'm a grown up. But I think it that way. I think that because I'm getting older. I'm doing things that adults are doing. So naturally, I'm an adult, right? But I'm not. But anyways, so I'm driving. I remember thinking about I felt like I was feeling mature because I was looking at houses. And I say looking at houses, I was driving in cul-de-sacs. And I was looking to see if there was signs up for rent on houses. Because at least I knew that much that I couldn't buy a house, but maybe I would rent something, in the near future, which is a definite possibility. But given the position that I was in financially, it was not a possibility. Not a house, maybe a room in a house. But it nonetheless made me feel mature. And it was the act of going out and searching for something that made me feel like I was on to something, that like I was evolving. And I remember going in this one cul-de-sac of houses that was being built, and I remember thinking, oh man, this is like such a perfect area. I would love to live here. And at that point, I thought, this is way out of my league. It would probably be something that I would buy into, right? And it was, and by no means was it Pismo Heights. For those of you familiar who are not familiar with the area, Pismo Heights is a very, how do I call it? Or what do I say? It's very, it's more upper scale, right? And it was nothing like that. It was a cul-de-sac, a family-oriented cul-de-sac. And I remember seeing this place, this cul-de-sac, it's kind of like a private drive cul-de-sac. And I remember thinking, gosh, and I remember pointing out the house that I would have wanted to live in. And I was like, oh my gosh, and they were just being built, these houses, like still sandy lots, and the house was up, but like the landscape wasn't done kind of thing. And I was able to peer in the window and look and see what it was. And I was like, oh, this is so awesome, man. I want to live here. This is the house I want to live in. And I remember thinking that at the age of was 16 or 17, I did this drive in this situation, all in an attempt to feel more mature, more adult-like. And So these houses went up, and years go by, and I forget about it. I just forget about it. And really, it was only on my mind for like that night, maybe the half of the day and then the next day. But then after that, it was like dissipated, like most things do when you're 16. and a guy. But I remember, it just kind of the thought went away, and years go by. I do life, right? And I remember thinking, being, what was it, like 20, I don't know, I was like 30, 32 or something like that. And I remember looking at houses to move into, and I remember seeing a house that was not, and at this time, I'm still renting at this time. And at this time, and I looked at a house and I thought, and I didn't see the outside of the house, but I saw the inside and I thought, oh, this looks cool. And so I went to go meet the person to look at the house, to view the house. And it ended up being in the same cul-de-sac that, 17 years ago that I had wanted to live in. And it was a house in the cul-de-sac. It wasn't that house, but it was a house in the same cul-de-sac. And it was actually a better positioned house for me because I like to be in the cut. I don't like to be around a lot of people. I don't like to be in a lot of traffic. And it was in the cut. It was less exposed than the other house that I would have wanted when I was 16 was. So it was a better fit for me. But I didn't buy it. I rented it. And I remember reflecting just a little while ago on how when I was 16, I looked at these same houses and I thought, I would love to live there one day. But at the same time, it seems like a pipe dream, even though it's really not. It's really attainable. But when you're 16, that shit looks huge. And I reflected on now I'm living here, but I didn't buy the house. I'm renting it. And the reason why I preface that is because that's important to note here. Because see, what I wanted and what I thought was the pinnacle of house buying when I was 16, God knew different. So he didn't in respect say, you can't live here, but he said, you can't stay here. You're not staying here. I'll put you here because that's what you want in due time. But I'm not going to keep you here because this is below what I have for you. Now I'm not dispelling or discounting where I live because I live in a nice family-oriented, tight-knit community where everybody knows everybody. There's like 9 houses. It's very family-oriented, private. I love it. However, it's not for me. But at 16, I thought that was it. That would be it. I could live there. I would love that. That would be so awesome. God's saying, I put you there. Yeah, you can live here, but you're not staying here because this is below what I have for you in orchestration. This is below what opportunities I want to unfold for you. This is below, even though it's great, it's below what I have for you. It's below the plans that I have for you. But I'll put you here. But you're not staying here. And I believe that to be true for many, many things in our lives. We can't see what's going on. We understand the present. That's it. We think we're intelligent enough to mark out our own destiny, and you're really not. It doesn't matter how much ambition you have. It doesn't matter how much gumption you have. It doesn't matter how much work ethic you have, how great you are at all those areas of life. Doesn't matter. Because what's in front of you has already been orchestrated. It's a matter of you achieving them or not. Are you going to achieve them? And I'm going to tell you, a surefire way to achieve them is to be a surefire way to not achieve them is to be overly ambitious, to be overly driven, to be overly desirable, or to have an overly excessive desire over something, to have an over approach with regards to hustle and grind. That's a surefire way to not achieve the things that are of fulfillment in your life. And it's a surefire way to get empty achievements. There's a difference. There's a massive difference with a fulfillment and an empty achievement. And the empty achievements are going to be delivered when you're out of sight or out of context with God and His plans for you. See, I didn't know that back then this would be somewhere that I would just kind of reside for a short period of time. I didn't think I was just gonna feel it out. I thought I could. This would be the pinnacle. This is the paramount of anything that I could buy or anywhere that I could live. And let me give you some context here. I didn't grow up in poverty. So that's coming from the mindset of I already come from a good household. And I'm comparing it to that. But yet in plain sight, God's saying, look, I'll bring you there, but you're not staying here because it's only temporary. What I have for you, what I have already orchestrated, isn't going to be by your hand. It's going to be by my hand. You may think it's by your hand because you may think you're gravitating in all your work ethic and all your grind and your hustle. All of that is okay, but it's not by that hand that you're going to get the achievements that I have for you. If anything, those can derail your progress in God. And that's what I'm saying. If it were up to me, I would have stationed here and I would have then been fine. I would have been in a sense been satisfied. And God was not satisfied with at the time, my ultimate desire. And I know that you guys, you think back when you're young and there's a certain car you want. There's a certain kind of style of house that you think you want to live in. And for most people, they don't align with what their future is. For most people, they're actually a suppressed version of what God actually has for them, or from what they're actually going to live in or have established in real life in the future. And it's not to anything against you. It's not to say you're not reaching for the stars, but your stars are still hung too low. God's ways are so much bigger and you're not giving Him credit for that. And I don't either. But in times of reflection like this, I have to. Because all I remember is I would be fine here when God was telling me something different. You might also think back in your life and you may think, why didn't that deal go through? Why didn't I stay at that job? Why didn't that relationship work out? Why didn't I excel in the work that I was in? Why didn't when I moved to LA, why didn't I make it? Why didn't those things happen? Why didn't I get better at where I was at? I had everything to get better at. I had it all going for me. I had all the right constituents around me. Why didn't I excel at that? You didn't excel because if you had, you wouldn't have embarked on the prosperous path that God had ordained for you already. If you had excelled in that job, you would have stayed there and you would have got comfortable and you would have only been a flicker when God wants you to be a flame that doesn't get put out. And you're trying to be a flicker. You're trying to just be a flicker of light. You're trying to be okay with being a flicker. And God's trying to tell you, look, man, I didn't give you that opportunity. I didn't let you excel there, even though you could have. I didn't want you to, because I know that if you did, you would have just only gone this far. And I want to take you farther. I want you to grow more. I want you to have a bigger limit. I want you to have a bigger vision. I don't want you to just flicker and then die out. I want you to fan your flame for future. I want you to fan your flame forever. I want you, when you die, I want you to have a legacy. I want people to talk about your name for centuries. I want you to be in history books. I want so much more than what you want. You keep underwriting me. You may not have what it takes, but I do. And I put what I want inside of you because I know that what I put in you is going to be everything and more than what you need. It may not be what it is right now, but it's progressing and you're manifesting it and you're practicing and you're all the way practicing for your innate purpose that is in the future. And I promise you, you're going to get there. And I promise you it's bigger than what you think. And I promise you that your vision is too small and you need to get a bigger vision, because my vision is so much bigger. You need to get on my level. God's telling you, get on my level. And don't think that you're being humble by not getting on his level. You're just discrediting him. You're just discounting him. There's been so many times that I thought, why didn't I make it? Why didn't I make it in that position? Why didn't I do better there? Why didn't I turn a sponsorship when I bodybuilded, when I competed? Why didn't I get noticed? I had everything. I have it all. And I don't mean that by any arrogant undertone. I mean it from a confident state, and I knew it from a competitive standpoint. Why didn't anything flourish off of that? Why? Why didn't, when I worked out and I trained in LA, why wasn't I picked up by Kim Kardashian and a celebrity trainer? Why didn't that not happen for me? I had it all. I have it all. Why did it not happen? And I'm telling you, God's sitting here and he's telling me this. If I had given you that, you wouldn't have been what you need to be. If I had allowed you to flourish there, and if I had, yes, you're absolutely right. You could have made it as a celebrity trainer. You're absolutely right. You could have had a sponsorship in bodybuilding. You're absolutely right. You could have been a voice in that regard. But if you had, you would have stopped after that, because that would have been good enough for the flesh Justin. But it's not good enough for the spiritual Justin that I have to live on for centuries and centuries after you die. It's not good enough. So I can't keep you there. I have to only have it be temporary, because what's permanent you can't see yet. And that's what he's telling you. That's the reason why you didn't make it. That's the reason why you didn't make the team, why you didn't flourish in that job position. That's the reason. Because where he has you is temporary. And it's temporary because the position of paramount's is permanent. But you won't receive it if you don't go through the blunders of the temporary spot that you're in right now. Done.